Hello, everybody. How are you? Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday, Shera.
Hello.
How are you? Daisy and Darren, it's so good to see you.
You too.
Daisy and
Um,
Darren.
Daisy and Darren. Thank goodness I don't have a D name because that would
No,
be
I would actually. I was hoping just now you did, but that's okay.
no, I
Triple
can't.
D.
I don't have it for you. I'm going to kick off with just some notes, kind of welcome everyone. Hello, hello. We would love to know who's out there, who's joining us. Please let us know your thoughts. We welcome, we encourage all sorts of communication and chat and chatter and anything that you want to tell us. And we're going to have some time, obviously, at the end for questions, and put your questions in the chat. We're going to kind of keep going with that. Last week, we decided we were going to ask you what you wanted to hear about. And so we put in a poll on LinkedIn. What was the biggest concern that everybody has regarding AI? Now, we only were able to give you 4 options. To be fair, we wanted to give you more, but LinkedIn didn't let us. So we picked the top 4, and overwhelmingly, over 50% of you said it was misinformation and deepfakes. And what we've talked about trust a lot. So what happens when the trust erodes? And we believe that that is why the human filter is still so essential in what we're doing. And we are going to continue to talk about that because it really is about the humans. So we want to understand too how organizations can align, how we're going to make all this work, and we're going to all be successful in it, and it's all going to be terrific. A couple of quick statistics. We're going to have a lot of information today. Obviously, all this will be available afterwards, so you don't have to write anything down if you don't want to, and we're happy to share any of this information. But the first one that I thought was really powerful is the World Economic Forum, according to their Q1 2025 report, said the deep fake incidents are creating over $200 million in just the first quarter of 2025. Thank you for putting that up on the screen. And that is unbelievable. And Resemble AI reported that financial losses, again, are more than 200 million. So this is, so the one thing that was really amazing is there's a 1,740% increase between 2022 and 2023 of deepfakes. Unbelievable.
Now that's a number.
That's a number. I don't even know. I'm not a math person, so I'm not going to do that in my head, but it's
That's
crazy.
a number.
So we're going to
well, you got 100%, 200%. Whoo, that's a big
1,700% increase in 1 year, right? So Darren, I welcome you both again. I'm going to introduce myself really quickly. I'm Shera Haliczer. I'm the founder and chief momentum officer of Engage 3P. Welcome. If you're not already, follow me on LinkedIn, on our LinkedIn page, and all the social things. We'll have that all up at the end as well. Darren, introduce yourself, please.
Hey everyone, it's Darren, the signature guy, all things sales. That's what I am. That's what I do. So hi everyone.
I love it.
You see how to get a hold of me. You know how to do it, but it's good to see y'all.
Love it, love it.
Hi, everybody. Daisy. I'll introduce myself. Hi, I'm Daisy Watkins. I am a founder of DW Concept and LumaPath.ai. Again, welcome everybody. I am in, for those that don't know me, I am in the AI marketing space, mostly in brand strategy, especially with AI, how you can be found. And do you know that if your business can be found by AI, basically, that's what I do. I help businesses get found by AI. So
very cool. Thank you so much. So we're going to talk about 3 key areas on the research that we did around deepfakes and the conversations that we've been having. And I'm going to just quickly share something kind of funny. I have my own business, right? So I get those emails every single day from all the people that are going to immediately find me all my leads and get me all my customers and loan me all the money and all the things. And I normally just delete, but one came in that said, we want to fund your business. We think what you're doing is really cool. And I thought, I've got 5 minutes. Let me figure out what this is. And so I emailed the guy back and and he said, oh, let's set up a meeting. And I said, great. And I said, use my calendar link. And he did. And then so all of a sudden at the time that I went into the Zoom, somebody phoned me. And I thought, that's odd. So I answered it because it looked like the numbers. And I asked the guy, oh, where's Bill that set up the appointment? Oh, I don't know. I said, well, do you have a Bill? I don't know. And I immediately knew what it was, right? Bill was probably a bot, right? He set up the meeting. I told him what I was and what I was doing, and that I didn't think they're really interested in investing in me. And the guy ended up saying, well, we can get you an SBA loan and you can mortgage your house, and click, we're done. So again, I put that in the category of deep fake. He wasted 10 minutes of my time, but that email wasn't real, right? That wasn't valid. And so I think that it's really kind of incredible when we think about, I was skeptic to everything else I had, but how do we as humans continue to be skeptical enough, right? With the machine deception that we're seeing, right? So here's another statistic that's incredible. We overestimate ourselves. 50% of us, 57% of us think we can spot a deep fake, right? But only 0.1% get it right. It's been tested. So we can't spot them. I didn't. I thought this was a legit. Guy was emailing me back and forth. I thought it was great. We've all seen the video of all the people, the animals jumping on the trampoline and
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, I think that is very important. I mean, when so you were in a sales cycle or you were in a funnel building cycle,
Funnel
right?
building,
Let's break this down. So it's a funnel building cycle and you called it a deep fake, right?
Yeah.
So, for me, right, and my businesses, so Apex Advisory, so when we are going out to build funnel, we have to be very aware of the fact that deep fake is everywhere. And if with a 1700% or whatever that was, a lot of the SMBs out there are going to really have to think through how they're going to be them authentic selves and how they're going to avoid as much digital as possible. Because as soon as we humans now smell digital, we're not going to believe you. We're just not. So, on my side, and what I'm doing is I am trying to be more authentic. I'm getting away from automation, and I'm really trying to bring every aspect of my Apex 8 methodology. I'm really trying to exercise that book better, meaning be more human in your sales cycles, be more human in your funnel building. So that's an interesting thing is what's the psyche of the prospects?
Right.
They're not trusting anything out there. So there you go.
I appreciate that going outward, right? So as professionals, we're all trying to grow our business and going outward. But Daisy, I want as a marketing person, I want to understand the other side of it, right? As people who are receiving them, whether it's on TikTok or Instagram or through business, how do we know? Are there signs of what might be a deep fake? I mean, if 57% of us think we can and 0.1% of us really can't, we think we can, but we're not. What do we do?
There's no way you can really look at a deep fake. Honestly, it's a lot of aha moments about deep fakes and how when AI evolved a lot of it in the creative side. When I originally started marketing, I was in the creatives. A lot of it was by creatives. Before anybody touched AI, it was fun. I could do all these things faster, quicker. But then as AI became more popular in the creative side and you can do layers and layers of things, I don't see there's any control we can have except for finding the actual content, meaning not just the images, not just the video, but the message itself. And then I'm not going to give all of it. It's kind of a little more technical, is that how you label your content within those images. And in the videos that you do, there is a technical part of it that AEO and my proprietary framework that I built for my clients to make sure that those things are also captured, even if it doesn't talk about, even if it doesn't necessarily show something, but AI still reads it that the content was created by a human being. There are markers in there that people won't really see as far as authors are going to be noted in there that we don't see. dates and times when you label it is going to be significant to it, and how that actual image actually relates to the topic that you're talking about, let's say in LinkedIn or
Okay.
in your blog. Because an image is just an image or a video is just a video, but if it doesn't tie into some credibility, which means it talks to or there's a topic about it, it LLMs typically know about it, but as humans, it's hard to figure it out. LLMs can somehow figure it out.
So
Go ahead.
I would say, from the human perspective, thinking about how AI is existing within companies today, right? As companies are starting to build agents, as they're starting to leverage AI and people are starting to use it, I think the trust factor really has to be top of mind, that we have to communicate effectively, right? We have to not be afraid to say, hey, I don't know if this is real or not, right? We've been told for 10 plus years now, we've been given all sorts of, learning about what's a phishing email and all that stuff. I think that this is the next level of that, because it is getting smarter and smarter and smarter.
Yeah. So you can't, let's see. If you can't trust the credentials, the face and the voice on the other end of the line, the human filter is essential. Okay.
Right.
But it's becoming overwhelming, or we become overwhelmed by it. So when misinformation floods, feeds, brands don't just lose visibility, they lose credibility.
No question.
Okay.
No
And once
question.
that trust is gone, that incredibly difficult, it's incredibly difficult to get it back, really. It just takes one person to ruin it. Just like you mentioned emails, and then we get these fake emails that they're saying they're from Meta. Your page is going to be deleted. You see a Meta logo in there, but you have to be very vigilant. And I know they didn't take away my page because I'm looking at it. But people that think they're gonna get taken out, there's a button that they say, click, fill out this form, and then we'll fight for you, kind of thing. It's fake. I have 2 clients that have come to me and says that, I got scammed, and I got, this company called me and says, we're going to restore your page back, is basically what they did. They took it down for her, and then they asked her to pay tons of money to put it back. So now
Ransomware.
she has to start from scratch, and I have to work with her from scratch because of those things. So be very, very vigilant. Still be very conscientious about everything that you do. Not everything, the logo that you see might be that. Know how people are sending you information. So if it's a big corporation like Meta, they would never send it through Messenger without even a picture on the side. They would always send it to you by email, and you have to validate it. Those type of things. So that would be my caution. But as far as content is concerned, this is where AEO, answer engine optimization, it's not just a marketing tactic, guys. It's a moral imperative, really.
I would love to know from our audience, if you want to share, if you're comfortable sharing some experiences that you've had around, maybe you thought you saw something that was real and it wasn't. And obviously, if you have any good stuff you want to share, fun videos, we love to see those too. Darren, before we close out and move on to the next topic, what is your thought around, any more thoughts around this particular statistic?
Yeah, one of the things that we can do, right? You can use your signature, your buying power, as a tool of change, which means that ethics is going to start to come into play more and more and more and more. And this is what we're talking about. Now, I know LinkedIn for a while was putting a watermark on to the images. And I think that's a good step in the right direction. Because LLMs can see who the deepfakes are. It can. We should start having our vendors and the people that we work with and our media outlets, we need to really start holding them much more accountable with our dollars and with our data. So, not to get too crazy here, but data is the new dollar, right? That's really where we're going. And we can talk about that another time. But stop giving away your data to people who don't police their deepfakes. Stop giving away your money to companies that don't police their deepfakes. You will watch a lot of change if you have discipline and just cut them out of your lives. It's very important as we go through AI that the humans start to really stand their ground and come up strong. I also say you got to train a little bit because you're getting into a boxing match metaphorically, and you're going to want to know how to do this. So every show I say it, I'm going to say it again. If you don't have your own personal account and you're not figuring out who to play with and who not to play with and who to hold accountable and who not to hold accountable, you're in trouble. I just don't want you to do that. I don't want that for anybody. So that's my gift to the world. Just get in the pool, start swimming around, start learning how to use AI, and then start using AI to protect yourself. You can use AI to to check on deep fakes. Hey,
True.
Can you go to this website and tell me if you think it's real? Can you go to this website and tell me what the sentiment scores and what the ethics level of this company is? It's going to start doing that. I'm already doing that. So, get in there, guys. Start playing with this thing. If you're worried about deep fakes, if you can't beat them, join them. Meaning get in the water with them and start figuring out how to manage these deep fakes.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's the idea of deep fakes like using people's faces to sell something, or like celebrities to sell something, right?
I see that all the time.
And
Joe Rogan gets used all the time. Joe Rogan all
right?
the time. I'm like, this isn't real. Joe Rogan didn't say that.
Right.
It's terrible. It's terrible.
And then there's the other side of it, which is the real fraud, right? The fraudulent attempts. So the thing that happened to me wasn't fraud. This was just, it was a deep fake, right? It was a bot. It was somebody communicating with me. There was no intention there for fraud. What we're seeing, though, another interesting statistic, is that the deep fake fraud, say that 3 times fast, is actually up. Are you ready for this one? 2,137% since 2022. 2,000% in fraudulent attempts in the deepfake world, right? So that's where we start to get into process, ethics, having for businesses and even individually having the processes in place that are critical to ensure that we're not being defrauded, right? How do we do the things that are necessary so that we don't get caught, right? What are leaders doing to train their teams? How is that all manifesting?
It's a topic, right? Pretending to be something you are not. So my question to you is, what are you recommending, or what are you coaching your people on in terms of human capital? Because we've got a lot of people getting jobs that, frankly, I don't want to work with. So I'm coming down the hallway to you and I'm saying, can you fix things for me, Shera, so that the machines aren't hiring people that are bad? Because they are. Because once I figure out your process and your matrix and your fabric and all that, and I fill in all the right places and I pay somebody $400 to get me into a job, but I'm really a terrible human being. I mean, don't your clients got to kind of come back to you, or what? Do you keep fraudulent people from getting into companies like this?
Well, I don't know. It's interesting, right? There are those who are just going to do it, and that is their business, and they're coming after us. Jeanette has a great idea. You throw emails or unsolicited content into chatbots all the time. So to your point, throw it back in and see what it is, right? Have it verified. And Darren, you taught me this, and Daisy, use multiple sources. Don't just go to one. Don't just go to ChatGPT. Go to Claude, go to Perplexity, go to another one, go to whatever, and see if you're getting the same answer, right? You may not. That's pretty scary, right? How to ID them. I think that for businesses, what I'm recommending to my clients is, number one, it is mandatory to have a set of ethics and rules around any technology that's being used, right? We have policies and procedures about our humans. We need to have policies and procedures around our technology, whatever that is. We've been very good up until the AI boom that IT put guardrails on everything. And now I think we didn't get in front of it fast enough. I'm finding that with a lot of companies. Or the opposite is true. They didn't do any training or anything to help people understand what the value of it is. So there needs to be policy and procedure. And I work with my clients to make that happen, right? Understand, why are they using it, right? Somebody coined for me, you're the signature guy, Darren. I've been coined the why detective. Darren knows this from being in the room with me. Somebody says, hey, can you do this? And I say, why do you want to do it? Right? I don't answer the question because I want to understand what the purpose of it is. So understanding why AI is being used, what the reason is behind it, is going to help set that all up. That's critical. First step.
I think the other thing that's going to happen, this is my prediction, is I think you're going to see more private print products start to come back.
Interesting.
Books are coming back. Magazines are coming back, but they're not broad. They're not the Wall Street Journal. They're not the big houses, the Hearst families and all of those. Bye-bye. That's all blowing up. But what I do see are these ground rags, these grassroots rags days. I mean, have you seen some of these? Are you getting a sense of what I'm saying? Because I'm seeing more and more people on my book alone. I was told that everybody was going to buy the electronic copy. Did you know that half of my folks are print? They're print. They're print. So anyway,
thanks,
you too. Anyway, the bottom line is that I want to know, Days, is like, how do we take because we're going to go back to organic. I know it's coming.
Mm-hmm.
I know kids are getting flip phones that are not smart. We know that. You and I know that. We know that. We know they want experiences. They want to unplug. I'm trying to get my daughter to leave her phone with me for 4 hours a day. And it helps them mentally. So this is going to be a trend. And if you're tired of deep fakes and you're tired of really unethical advertising, I guess, I don't know what else to call it, Days, how are we going to help the rags and the organic stuff come to life still being effective?
Loaded question, Darren. Thank you for that. Let me try and break that down a little bit.
Hey, give the audience something to watch. They're tired of watching us just talk about softballs. Let's get into some big ones now. Right, everybody? Yeah. Back me up, everybody out there. Come on.
Back up there. Yeah. Tell me okay.
Yeah. So while I try and break down that question, I think, Shera, there's a couple of questions in there on the chat that you might want to look into. So, all right. So with the stats growing and then the fraud attacks happening, with $200 million in financial losses, that is staggering. It's more than just financial losses, actually, if you think about it. So, for example, in healthcare, fraud isn't just financial, it's also for patient safety.
Yeah.
Okay. What that means is that it's about, you have to have a process to filter fact from fiction. Okay. From my experience with hospital procurement and vendor management, what it taught me is that the best defense is a well-designed process. And Shera, you talk about this all the time, right? Same thing. It's a people. You got to create processes for people. If you don't create processes for people, they go off the rails. They all of a sudden do their own thing. Again, another unicorn went by, that type of stuff. And then if you use that unicorn example, they go in a deep dive into the AI world, right? If you already have that mentality, if you already have that short attention span, and they just want to keep getting fed by answers and answers and answers and gets deeper and deeper, but they don't check themselves. So you always have to have your own filter and how deep are you going to go. We're talking about humans. So you can't just throw a new tool at the problem. Number one, you need a system that aligns with every people, process, and platforms. So how this ties in there into your question is that we got to remember that we have generational gaps going on right now. Okay. How we perceive our generation are built a different way, and we solve problems. We try and embrace everything. We test everything. We were told to just get, when we were kids, you see this all over social media. We were told to just go out and be out of the house. I don't want you in the house, basically, and just make sure you come home, right? That's our generation. The next generation after us is what? I'm independent, I'm privileged, and I'm entitled to this, right? That's the common thing about that generation. You got to think about who's the parents of those generation. Who are our parents? And then the generation after the millennials, who are their parents? The next generation that we have is they grew up with technology. As soon as they open their eyes, they don't know any different. we in our generation, we built the technology, right? So we had to adapt to it, and we're still adapting to more technology coming out. The new ones, they just woke up to it and they knew immediately how to pick up a phone, how to dial your number or text somebody or buy something that you don't even know how intuitive that is. And so as they grow up, this last two generations, millennials and the next, the Z, is that their life was looking at a phone and an influencer. That's why influencers became big, right? What they say is their Bible. How they live their life is how they live it. Or I want to be that way. So they watch all these micro little things, and then they build their own world around that. The next generation is also more about, oh, I'm done watching these people. I want to live what they're talking about. I want to experience things.
So that pendulum is shifting again,
It's
right?
shifting again.
So we're going to dumb phones. We're going to experience, it's that whole thing where go to a concert and I take my phone and I'm doing this the whole time in my phone.
Yeah, no, they actually want to live it. They
Recording
purchase
something.
experiences. They buy experiences to live life. And so,
Right.
and also this generation also has probably seen the most war. Look at everything that they've gone through. They've seen COVID. They've gone through a lot. And so being also in that isolation period kind of made them think, not just the generation that are single, but the married people, all of a sudden they got divorced because they got cooped up and they're living life again, right? Yeah. Because now they've experienced life very differently. So there is a psychological change also happening while AI is being big and teaching us on going through all these things. Our psyche and the generation uses it and experiences it very differently.
I heard a statement once a few years ago even that said that the generation today will not know what being offline is. Right? You said they wake up, they're born with phones in their hands and they know how to work them. I think it's an incredible thing. But if we go back to the understanding of the deep fake, the misinformation, the stuff that, and let's not even remotely go into the politics of it all, right? That's a whole separate conversation. But what's happening is we're being so isolated to information that is aligned to the way that we think. So if we're given misinformation, if we have deep fakes, if we don't, then how are we ever going to know unless we do what you say, which is, and Jeanette, to put it back in, research it, that takes time. I'm going to share this. Okay. Darren, you were just on a podcast. I'm super excited to listen to it. I want you to tell us all about it, but you told me about it before the show started. You said it's on my LinkedIn. I went to your LinkedIn. I clicked. It didn't show up. Guess what? I was done. Right. I'm like, give me the link. I don't want. And I clicked this link and I clicked this link and it didn't take me to it. And I think that is where we are today. The immediacy of everything, right? Joan Rivers had a joke, so-and-so stood in front of the microwave and yelled, hurry. I think that that's how we are. And then a great joke.
That's a great one. Hurry up.
But I think that that's where we are. If it's not presented in front of us at that moment, I don't think people are going to go and check it out. I don't think they're going to take
I don't think so either. I think that you both touched on a lot of things, which is there are many layers to the interaction in the digital sphere, right? You talked about the algorithms. You talked about how a 20-year-old, a 21-year-old, whatever they're into, it shows them more of whatever they're into because that's the way the algorithm works. And then AI is helping with the algorithm. So you can build an entire world around somebody to the point where they do some really sad things. And that's what I was saying in regards to print and to organic things. You can, the hack, it really is to go see if you can find it somewhere else that's not digital. That's kind of a hack. Yeah. I think about your friends in the lawyer game. I heard that they're bringing back the library. They're bringing back the library for certain things, for certain cases and certain elements, because they're tired of training other systems how to beat them in court. So it's going to get very interesting. We also talked about the fact that I've been having conversations with my clients in regards to their sales systems and their delivery systems of putting on-prem AI, the last
This-
minute AI, locking it away, getting it out of the cloud. So again, when I say that we're going back to kind of the old ways, I'm not joking. We'll use AI to go there, but we won't necessarily have 100% there. So I love your joke. Hurry up. You're sitting in front of the microphone and say, hurry up. I think that's hilarious. I definitely have coined the phrase, you got to go slow to go fast now. I have also coined the phrase, you'll never get away from a day's work. It'll just be different. Meaning I spent 14 hours yesterday. I slept very well last night. Had a lot of great conversations, some good, some bad, but it was a lot of work. And I have a ton of AI at the end of my fingertips, but the best quality that I got was when I was on camera, talking to somebody I know, having a conversation, even like when we missed meetings and they just said, screw the video. I'm just going to talk to you on speaker. Can I just talk to you on speaker, please? Can I just do a text, please? So, I see this regression, and I see the real hope here is that we'll just go back to bypassing as much digital as we can. And again, back to the other things. I'm hoping LinkedIn starts to hear us when we say you're too complicated now. You're too hard to deal with now. So, we'll see. I know for a fact I've been in meetings and there's people coming down the line that are getting funding right now that want to replace Facebook and they want to go after that business. Well, they're getting money right now to go do it. So the good news for us as consumers and people with the power of the signature and being Americans is that, we have the ability to not plug in to the deepfakes and start really challenging the deepfakes and start questioning everything, really, unfortunately.
We have to be vigilant, right? I mean, I don't think it was any different at any other time. We've always had to be vigilant. I think when the image that comes to mind, I was just watching that show about the families that go and do the prairie thing from the 1880s. Did you guys see the show? It was unbelievable. These three families go off and they're going to be, they go to the West and they have to do everything like in the 1880s. And they set them up. I think it's on, I don't know what it's on, but it was really interesting. And the what do you call it? The coach comes up and brings them their catalogs or what, brings them their mail or whatever. It's that we didn't have as much information, right? You said it, Darren. Data is money. Data is the value. We are given that information at flooding in, right? In so many different ways. We don't have time to check it all, right? So from a business perspective, if we think about what businesses need to do, it goes back to the same thing. It goes back to protocols. It goes back to process. It goes back to structure. It goes back to having guardrails. I'm a big believer in guardrails. Over the years, I've managed a lot of different teams. And I have this saying. I say that, I am always here for you when I manage a team, no matter what, right? And I want you to be able to make your own decisions because I've set up guardrails strong enough that you're not going to destroy the business. You're not going to do anything. You're not going to do anything. You're not going to bankrupt the business. Everything's in place. I will make sure you understand what your role is. And I want you to go out and try something. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Okay, don't do it again. But let's try it the first time and see what happens. There are 2 times when someone who works for me must come to me. And those 2 times are simple: death and fire. You must come to me if there's death or fire, imminent or happening, because those are the only 2 things I can't fix. And so I really think that we need to put those guardrails in when it comes to AI as well within organizations. I think what's unbelievable that you said, and you mentioned this briefly last week, and I want to take a few minutes on it, is this notion that we are going on-prem. I mean, Darren, you and I worked for a company that for 10 years was screaming and forcing their clients to get off-prem, and why it was so valuable. And of course, defense, some healthcare, et cetera, we're saying, no, we're not going to do it. However, now we're thinking we're going to have a box under our desk again. I mean, is that going to happen?
Well, yeah. I mean, you're right. You know how when fashion comes out and bell bottoms come back, there's always some part of the pants that means you can't wear the one from 15 years ago because they changed one little thing. It's the same thing in tech. So when I say about being on-prem, I'm really talking about last mile. It'll be a best of breed, and it'll really become, a delivery system and a enablement system where it'll be cloud, private cloud, on-prem last mile. So will it be under your desk? No, I don't think so. Unless though you are unless you're the manufacturing engineer on the shop floor and you're looking at about 42 different CAD drawings, then those CAD drawings will be underneath his desk. It'll be underneath. I mean, all of the design engineers and all of the CAD guys, and they've always hated the cloud anyway. They never liked it. They don't want their next rocket ship that they're designing to be anywhere near the cloud. Nothing. But they're forced into it. They do it. But the minute I show up and say, hey, if I can show you a way to do a last mile deal where you go straight from your desk to that desk down there at the manufacturing engineer and the CAD drawings never leave the building, are you interested? I don't even get done. And they're like, okay, what? And so, the fun part is right now is that we are building the how to do that. It's not going to be easy. I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but I can tell you that we'll have a combination of all of these things. We're going to have cloud. We're going to have data. We're going to have fun building this. But we will control the machine city. That's my goal at Apex Advisory is we will master how to control the machines and not just trust somebody else to run them.
I will say this, and Daisy, I want to get your feedback on all of this, but I want to say what's really amazing to me. I'm the people person, right? I'm the one that cares about, I'm not that you don't care about the humans, but I'm focused on the humans. And what's happening in our chat right now, which is really exciting, and I love the comments about what we're doing, but we've made a connection of 4 or 5 people. I lost it for a second, but at least 4 people who are all either in Ohio or from Ohio, and they're all talking to each other. And to me, that's kind of amazing, right? Because that's the connection. That's the whole point of all of this, is to have more human connection. The idea that all of this technology can help free us up to connect more, to engage more, to be with each other more is fantastic, not to isolate us more, which is kind of what you were saying, Daisy. We went from this, being internal and all of that with COVID and not to now opening up is really lovely. I mean, so, here, I mean, this is not AI. This is just us talking and showing on a screen, but, it's kind of nice that everyone's connecting and maybe having a little party in Ohio because of this. I love it.
Absolutely. Forgive me for the wrong banners up there, people, but I love the comments that are coming over and I think they're fantastic. But Daisy, I know you've got some thoughts about all of this fun stuff.
All right. So with the staggering numbers of the deep fakes, my question is, what leader, not a question, but what leaders can do beyond tech, right? And there you touched upon, it could be, it's one of the hacks is, bring back the library, right? Again, it goes beyond the tech. Again, it's about the process. So I'm tying it back to healthcare, where in healthcare, we had to be ruthless about patient data and compliance to protect people. We have to use the same rigor now in everything digital. Okay. Yeah. So our data needs to be protected. Our data needs to be identified as real. Our data needs to be basically watermarked, as Darren said. This is why our framework works really powerfully with, it's not a framework for architect, is meaning that how can AI find you is more than just a checklist, okay? It's a strategic system. It's actually a blueprint for building a brand's credibility. It's asked the tough questions up front, like what is your brand's unique authority? Because that's what AI is going to be looking for. Same thing, how do we make sure that we don't end up with the deep fakes, right? What's your brand's unique authority? What processes do you have in place to ensure that your online content is truthful and accurate? You have to have that in place. Our strategies, our approach to the strategy really is design second, strategy first, design second, meaning that your design doesn't matter anymore in the world of AI, right? It's the strategy you have behind it. It's the content you have behind it that means more than how your website looks like. We don't start with a pretty website. My branding, the way I do my brandings, we don't start with a pretty website. We start with the truth. That's really the bottom line. I can say flowery words about what our process and our what we do and how to help you. The bottom line is we talk about the truth about you, about your company, and your credibility. We help you build a content really that is a foundation that's solid so that you're aligned with the genuine thing that AI looks for. Again, I will bring it up. It's called the EEAT: experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. That's how you're going to beat deep fakes about you and about your content that AI systems use and what humans also use, right? This that's not the systems. These are what humans look for. And the systems are helping us look for that. That's really the bottom line. That we, AI systems and humans have no choice but to trust and reference you if you do this. That's the bottom line. So your business might be legitimate, right? But if your digital presence is built on a shady, basically foundation, then you're at risk. Again, you have to have a resilient process in everything that you do, not just with marketing. It's not just about, it isn't just about spitting deep fakes. It's actually about proactively building a digital infrastructure. It's all about your digital infrastructure from this moment on.
But you said you said what we all, I think, are saying, which is you need to have a plan, right? You don't build a house and start putting up walls and be like, oh, I wonder where this is going to go, right? It doesn't work that way. So, and you don't put up the walls and go, oops, we have to do a foundation. We forgot to pour the foundation. That's not going to work. So I think that the criticality of understanding what is the plan, and this is true in any kind of, God help me, I need a better word, transformation, right? I hate that word, but any kind of change that, I hate that word too, but any kind of change that a company is going to do requires us to first have a strategy, have a plan, engage with your humans, communicate what's going on, get feedback. The last part of it is the tech, right? That's the last part in order to be successful. And as a value engineer, as someone who's built the business cases for hundreds of different software projects, that's the critical part, is asking those questions. Why are we doing it? What are we looking to get out of it? Why is this important to the business? What is the expectation? And I think that is just bare bones where we need to start, right? So I think that as we move into our final segment for today, I think what's really interesting, we know what we've lost. We know where the challenges are. I think this is a fascinating statistic that anyone can do this. I can go and do a deep fake. Darren, you showed me that site, or Daisy, one of you showed me a site where I can make the videos, right?
Yeah.
I can put my pictures up and I can make the videos. I tried it. They were weird. I don't like. So, but anybody can do it, right? So it's going to continue to go up and up and up, because anyone with a phone can go on whatever the app is, put their face in it, and create anything, right? So what do we do to ensure?
It does lead back to trust, and so the question is from a social side, there's that one aspect. From a business side, there's the other aspect, but they're all merging together these days. They really are.
I heard today, I spoke to a woman who I think is going to be our guest next week, very excited about it. And I said, very innocently, I said, yes. I said, she's an AI expert. And I said, AI is a great tool. I don't know if you're on today. And she said, it's not a tool. And she'll talk about this more next time, but it's a social construct. And I love that idea. I love the idea that it's not just another tool, that it is something that actually is part of who we are. And we have to do good, right? We have to be a good society, a good caretaker of what we're putting out in the world. One of you asked earlier, how do we prevent it? Well, people are always going to do bad things. That's not going to change, right? Not possible. But if we try to get ahead of it, remember when, was it Citi or one of the big credit card companies put our pictures on the credit cards? Do you remember that? And they thought, here's a great idea, fraud, right? We'll put your picture on it. Well,
the hologram, the little hologram.
Yeah, I have a story about that.
The expectation was that the guy at the store, the clerk at the store, would take it, look at it, and da-da-da. First of all, they never looked. And second of all, we just tap it. They never put it in their hands. that didn't work, right? That was a huge expense for the companies to go out and do all that work. To what end, right?
Yeah. So this is nothing to do with deep fake, but just a funny story about having your photo. It was actually B of A when I first moved here from Canada to the States. So I had my picture in there. You know, I was in my late 20s. Anyway, it carried on until your thing expired, right? And so
Right.
they sent me a replacement, and on the picture, but that's my name on it, was an older lady in probably her 60s with gray hair.
They put somebody else's picture on
Picture
their
with my
card.
name on it, with the same number that I've been on my debit card that I've been using, but they had a different picture in there.
That's
So
strange.
interesting. That was their way of protecting you for being identified. So now I'm the one who is showing up with a fake, me, the fake person with the wrong picture. So
Did
anyway,
anybody ever look at the picture?
they did look at. Well, no, I didn't yet use that card. I immediately went to the bank and go, give me a blank one, please.
Yeah, I think there's some great conversation going on in the chat with Philip, and I think you're
Yes.
absolutely right. The companies do need to be rigorous, right? This is scary stuff, right? We need to be rigorous about the way that we're approaching it and the way that we're putting things out there. And I think most companies are. Certainly companies that, want to stick around, companies that want to have a good reputation. The last thing any company wants is for their reputation to be that they're defrauding anybody, right? I mean, that's certainly not what anybody wants. But I think from a sales perspective, Darren, from a marketing perspective, Daisy, I think with the best of intentions, if we don't do it right, it can turn on us, right? Like the guy that was sending me the bot emails, or, putting something together, or doing, if instead of me actually doing the research when I'm working with my clients, when I'm asking the questions, if I just put technology to that and just said, here, fill out a form, what's the value? Anybody can do that. That's not going to bring them what they need.
Absolutely. With the fakes expected to rise, as you mentioned, by 8 million this year, right? It's clear that the volume of synthetic media is going to dwarf a lot of the authentic content. This makes maintaining credibility even tougher inside and outside the organization.
Sorry,
right? So we have to be, again, being vigilant. So maintaining the credibility inside and out of the organization is even more important, because the biggest risk for a brand is not having the truth available and easily be found.
What is synthetic media? I don't know. Is that like cartoon?
Yeah, it's the
synthetic, silicons, fake.
The fake,
not,
the AI,
not organic. How about
not
that?
organic. Yeah, and the content created. So I can represent, let's say, a real estate company, right? And go, I want to feature this beautiful landscape. I wish I had a drone that can do it. Guess what? I can get that community image, and I can create a feature with AI to make it look like there's a drone flying over that particular image alone of that particular area for a real estate company, let's say. So that's synthetic, meaning it wasn't.
Would it be like
virtual staging of furniture in a home?
Right.
Correct.
It's not real.
That's not bad.
The filters, the catfishing that happens in real estate. Oh, this is beautiful. I mean, when I moved to Las Vegas here, we put money down on a condo for my father, and we actually, had already invested in an inspection and everything else. We flew out here, and we went through it. It was a nightmare. It was terrible. I immediately walked out. I said, cancel my contracts. I'm eating $400, and here we go. And it was a letdown, and it was tough. And until, from a sales standpoint, again, working everything out from the order out, right, is conscious competence around the fact that that's happening is important for the audience to hear. Number one, these things are happening. So when you go into your marketing and go into your sales, and if you're sitting there going, I wish I had more business, then you got to get some conscious competence about what it takes to navigate the AI world, which means you're going to use parts of it and you're not going to use parts of it. So for example, synthetics are fine. There's a good way to use synthetics, but the human has to come in and just say, and ride in like on the white horse here and save the customer from evil AI for just a second and say, this is staged. This is authentically me speaking, and this is staged. Before you put any money down, let me just go by there and do a personal piece. I'll do a video, and then we'll do a final approval on this. Blah, 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 blah. Well, you're adding much more time. Well, you've got plenty of time because you guys aren't closing deals. You're not closing as many deals as you used to. So spend more time as a human in the engagement and in the transaction. Get some conscious competence around how to do it and understand what you're doing so that you can bring this back to the organics of sales. Use as much AI as you want. Use it in the right places. But deep fakes and that there's more, 8,000% coming more, the more you can get on actual phone calls, the more you can actually be there, the more you can actually put in some effort, and the more you can build the trust ladder, because that's really what it takes these days. They don't need you for knowledge anymore. They want to know that they can trust you, and they want you to de-risk whatever they're doing. That's where you focus, and that's where you bring in the humans. The AI can't do that part.
So as we talk about synthetic media, the brands must be designed for credibility across every channel, not just one channel. Okay, we now have to go through every channel to promote ourselves, to talk about us. It's not just, you just can't go to Google and depend on that, because even in Google, Google doesn't give you how credible that company is until you click on it and read it and judge it for yourself. This is when you do your own filtering, right, in Google SEO. So it's not just competing with keywords anymore. It's about competing for the truth. As you know, people might say, "Oh my, that's so dramatic, Daisy." It really is about the truth. Again, it's about competing for the truth. So you have to look at how to basically, what we do is we help you uncover and codify your brand's authentic story.
Right.
At the same time.
Right.
Okay, so when you do AEO, you have to codify it. Remember, there's some code that is needed, not meaning that we put a code. There is some codes like schemas and stuff like that on some sections of your website that needs to be added, not just one, was what people know about, which is the AEO part of it. It really, AEO will show you how the truth is findable, right, from our framework, ensuring that your brand has a trusted source for the right answers, right? You can build like you have a trusted answer, but does it really have a trusted, has it been researched and it actually ties into the major research or how it falls into what your claim is? So, there in HIPAA, the best part is you have regulations around it, but for some industries, we don't. So this is where how your content is really written, that AI will really see it as the truth. There's a lot of layers to that, as far as citations. Where are you cited? Are you in a directory that you've been rated, right? There are certain directories that AI looks for, but not all of them. So do you know what those directories are? Do you know where the citations that they use for sites, for that credibility factor that they use, or the human factor that I always talk about? So those are the back end things of AEO that people really are not talking about, and they should.
Philip thinks you're brilliant. I just want to point that out in case you didn't see it. He's not wrong at all. That's not a bot. He's absolutely right.
Thank you, Philip.
I think that we come back to something that's so fundamental, right? We are the people, we are the humans, and the AI as a social construct, whatever it is, right, is to serve us, not the other way around. And I think we have to remember that. It's fascinating. It is the shiny new toy. You were mentioning, Darren, some frustration around LinkedIn. OpenAI announced a job board. Everyone is buzzing that means they're going to take over LinkedIn, and it's going to change everything. I listened to a few podcasts, some experts that said, no, that's not the case, but they may even go into the whole world of certifications, right? So will it be table stakes to have AI certifications that are expected? Like when you put on a resume, Microsoft Office, or an ERP, or other technology. That's the next thing. I think that, to your point, Darren, you got to slow down to speed up. We got to slow down and take it in, right? It's all very exciting. I love using it. I have so much fun, especially working alone at home. It gives me somebody to talk to. Right. But as I said many, many times, I had to instruct my agents to be like, don't just tell me what I want to hear. Don't give me BS. Don't tell me how wonderful I am. So I think that it is an incredible way of functioning, with the understanding that I still have to do the work. It's not a magic button. It's not a panacea. It's just,
cool tool.
it's a cool tool, even though it's not supposed to be a tool. It's a cool thing to use. And, you know, we started this whole thing 6 weeks ago because I said to you guys on our weekly call that I think one day somebody, the person that invented the wheel, walked into the cave, went like this, and everybody in the whole room went, ah, that's the end of society. It's over, right? We're never going to survive the wheel. And I think that that's kind of how I feel now, that there are those who are so afraid and so unwilling, but that hasn't changed since the beginning of time. When fire and the wheel and everything was invented. There's the brilliant film by Charlie Chaplin called Modern Times about the Industrial Revolution, right? And how nobody wanted that. And I always tell the funny story when fax machines came out and everybody said, you know, that's it, everything's going to be fraud. You're going to fax things. They're going to fax money. You know, it's just human nature. So we have to put guardrails in place. We have to be sure that we have a plan, that there's a strategy around anything that we're going to put in. And we have to work together, and we have to communicate, and we have to talk to each other, and we have to ask each other what we need and what we want. I mean, that's table stakes as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the secret for me becoming I always say that I took to AI like a duck to water. The reality of it is if you get conscious competence about what you're prompting about, right. I would like to design a new hospital building in Europe that has this and this and this and this and this and this and this. My point is you have to have conscious competence around what you're asking for so you can guide AI to work for you.
Right.
Otherwise, it does become a construct where it runs you. You can look at it as a cage, or you can look at it as a scaffolding that you walk on to get things done. And you can do that with AI. Right. And you can literally be trapped by it and be stuck in it like a cage, bars, the whole thing. But the difference is you have to know how to pick the lock, a conscious competence. And for my salespeople, you've got to get conscious competence about what you're trying to do psychologically in a sale and in a transaction to get the signature. So, you know, go read the book. The bottom line is that if you don't have conscious competence on whatever you're doing, you're going to struggle as a prompter. If you've come, the thing about being a Gen Xer is that I do remember when email came out. I remember the post office was supposed to go away. Then I remember all the stores were supposed to go away. Then I remember that the online came back on and the online exploded, and that definitely happened. And then guess what? The mail picked right back up. So look, just again, you can go two ways. You can go the cage, or you can go the scaffolding. I'm going the scaffolding now, and I'm building skyscrapers.
I love it. I've got a couple minutes left, so I just want to make sure that everybody, unless anyone has any questions, I haven't seen questions. I'm seeing great comments. So I want to thank you both again. We are going to be back next week, which will be the last of this series that we're doing, this little season that we're doing. We're having 7 episodes in this season. And then we'll be taking 2 weeks off. Then we're coming back after that again. So we definitely want to hear from you about what you want to talk about. Again, our focus is understanding that AI is here to stay, and we love it, and it's exciting, but we want to demystify it, and we want to talk about why humans still have value and why we're all still here, right? It's not taking us over, at least not entirely, not yet. So we do want to hear from you, whether it's through LinkedIn, you've got our connections on LinkedIn, or through whatever channels we have, through our websites, through our emails, through all the things, the Instagrams, all the things. I want to thank you both for, again, a wonderful session. I love our conversations. I think it's terrific. And I look forward to seeing everybody again next week, and bring your friends and tell everybody about it, because, listen, we're all in this together. We're all building businesses. We're all doing our thing, right? And trying to spread good in the world and make a living and, make connections, make human connections and silicone connections. Why not?
Why not?
Why not?
Where we live, what we got now.
Thank you, everybody. Daisy, Darren, much appreciated as always. We'll see you guys next week.
See ya.
See you guys.
Bye. Thank you so much.
Thank you.